And that's very, very exciting. Also, lastly, the first run of the Obama deception is now part of history. The second run has a new cover, Fall of the Republic, my new documentary film that shows how Obama violated Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution by seating himself at the head of the United Nations Security Council, thus becoming the first U.S. president to chair the world body. It covers the globalist takeover in their own words, their own documents, world government, how the world government will operate, what the Copenhagen Treaty means, the gun control, the open borders, the brainwashing, the police state, how the banks engineered the financial collapse, how they run the world government. Fall of the Republic. I'll give the TV viewers a close shot here on the document cam. Order the DVD today at Infowars.com. We've got some great discounts when you order it. You can get it with Aaron Russo's Reflections and Warnings, the film I made with Aaron Russo, of the interview with Aaron Russo. That's free in some of the combo deals. So again, a lot of combos, a lot of specials. Give the gift of truth this holiday season, this Christmas. Give people the films, and your purchase also supports this radio show and what we're doing here. If you don't have internet or don't like to order stuff over the internet, you can call toll free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139, a huge online video bookstore at Infowars.com. Let's jam in some calls in the rest of this segment. Next segment, then I'm getting into the latest big flu developments. Steve in Michigan, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Thanks for taking my call.
Good to hear from you.
I have a question and a comment.
Go ahead.
And a comment, if I can get to both of them, please.
Go ahead.
My question is, Deputy Director, Counterterrorism, John O'Neill, the one that was murdered, he, in the film, he claimed that there was a bill or a law passed by the Clinton and Bush administration that stopped them from going after Al-Qaeda and the bin Ladens.
Yes.
I cannot find that. Is there any kind of a link I could find that PDF file or some kind of document?
John O'Neill, in the 6 months before, he was the former head of counterterrorism. He quit the FBI and went public, and he was interviewed by the London Independent and by several other papers. And there was also, this is all in my film, Road to Tyranny, that I released in February of 2002. And in there, we have the New Yorker magazine talking about him. And they did an article. And he went to the British news mainly. It was even stronger than the few papers in the U.S. and magazines like New Yorker magazine. He said they're going to let bin Laden attack America as a pretext to attack Afghanistan. And then he was hired by the security company that was run by Marvin Bush, and his first day of work in the towers was 9/11. So, right. And then they reported they found his uncharred body, then they said they found his charred body, a lot of different weird reports, but he did die in the towers.
But is there any documenting proof to his claim, though? I mean, as far as not...
Well, sir, I mean, he was the FBI, he was a deputy director. They have more than one. He was the head of counterterrorism. I mean, he's a very credible person. He gave those interviews. So, look, I appreciate your call. Stephen Butler told the Sacramento Bee, the San Jose Mercury News, and the AP a month after 9/11. He won't do interviews now. He was threatened. He said, I don't know what happened with 9/11. But Muhammad Atta and others were trained at our bases and were trained at the military base that he was the head of. He was the dean of the Defense Language School in Monterey, California. I mean, it was in Newsweek that hijackers were trained at U.S. bases. That's what the 9/11 Commission has talked about being the fraud. I mean, that's the point. We don't know exactly what happened on 9/11. We just know it stinks to high heaven and was used to launch all these wars and take our freedoms. It's also been all over the foreign media now that the U.S. government is protecting Taliban and al-Qaeda in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Remember the Times of London? Early 2002, this is in my film Road to Tyranny, the screenshots of the newspaper headlines, that 6,000 Taliban and al-Qaeda cream, that was in the different articles, that term cream, the commanders. Every time our troops would capture them, they were ordered to release them and fly them out to safety on C-130s into Pakistan. I mean, don't forget that Al-Qaeda and Taliban were founded by the United States. Don't forget to attack the Russians. Don't forget that Jimmy Carter's national security advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, has written 2 books bragging how in '79 he created these groups to attack the Russians out of Afghanistan, to get the Russians to invade Afghanistan. They were using Afghanistan as a base to attack Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and other Russian-influenced areas. It's like Saddam Hussein was CIA. Mussolini was CIA. Hitler was CIA. We'll be right back after this break. They create the boogeymen. They use Muslim extremists to overthrow Iran in '53. It was more than 10 years ago that I had the Gold Antitrust Group on, a group of major gold mines that have joined together to sue the UN and the private Federal Reserve for artificially suppressing the price of gold to what it should be worth under indexed inflation. Now it's in the London Telegraph. Barrick shuts hedge book as world gold supply runs out. And they are millions of ounces behind a year producing the gold that there is demand for. That's why gold is above $1,120 an ounce right now. So a decade later, we're proven right yet again. And a decade later, weak dollar, no quick fix for narrowing trade gap. First, they denied the dollar was being devalued. Now they say, oh, it's going to be good for manufacturing to have a cheaper dollar because maybe some manufacturing will come back. No, China and India and Mexico are still cheaper. This is going to kill us. You're going to have a depression in the economy with rising prices. Look out. I want to get into the flu. A lot of big developments there, but right now let's go to Kelly, George, Steve, Jim, Bob, and others. Kelly in Colorado, you're on the air. Welcome.
How are you, Alex?
Well, my beloved republic is being taken over by criminal offshore banks, and people are starting to wake up, but not fast enough.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, I had a couple of comments and a couple questions. One of the things that I think about whenever I hear the Chuck Norris thing is that, it seems like the Cavuto kept asking his opinion instead of asking him what he knew about stuff, and it just seems like we're more engaged in opinions than facts these days in the mainstream media.
Well, it's more than that. See, Cavuto knows that Rupert Murdoch wants the global tax. And so it's their job to pose as if they're fair and balanced or conservative. And so he was like, but wait, they just want to clean up the earth. Those folks in Copenhagen, they're real nice. As if the folks in Copenhagen, as if the people in Denmark are bad. That's where the world government is based. One of the major. So that's where they have these big international bodies. And so, Chuck, you don't want to clean up the earth. Carbon dioxide is deadly, Chuck. Plants breathe it, Chuck. We better put a tax on it. It's not that the big bankers, we're going to be paying taxes. And Cavuto talked about how Gore made $100 million. Gore's made over $1 billion off this stuff so far.
Called Copenhagen, by the way. I want you to get it wrong,
You're saying you pronounce it Copenhagen?
There's this whole website that you can go to, and it's kind of a diary of everything that's going on there right now, or that kind of leading up to it and everything. And there are ads all over the internet and stuff like that, and they call it Copenhagen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you do pronounce it Copenhagen, but you're saying it's Copenhagen. Does the earth have hope? Will we be able to tax you by the mile in your car with satellite tracker boxes, as AP is reporting? Will we be able to tax the beef you eat in your house and federalize everything under UN control? Again, the feds take over the states. They take orders from the UN. Amazing. Copenhagen. The hope. Thank you, Kelly.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and talk to George in Texas. George, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
The thing is, you hear about with the UN body and all that stuff. I've been trying to get a hold of D.B. Kidd because I want documents that she got from the National Archives on the 17th Amendment. And what she has told me so far is when this 17th Amendment was proposed, none of the states legislatures were in session. This thing is a fraud. And
yeah. Let me break that down, and I appreciate your call. That's a long subject. The 17th Amendment Before the 17th Amendment, state legislatures, which we elect, which come from our towns and counties, they would then vote and appoint U.S. senators. So the states control the federal government under the 9th and 10th Amendment. The 16th Amendment gave us the income tax that we didn't have an income tax until 1913 that was meant to fund the private Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve also didn't like states controlling the federal government as they're meant to. So they also, and yes, I've had Bill Benson and many other historians on. They went to all of the original 42 states at the time of ratification.